Alrighty then, I just got done watching TNA Lockdown 2013, and when I first started watching the show, I didn't really have all that much interest in it. I was just more watching it just to watch it, so I was like, I don't have much expectations for this show. And honestly, the show kind of lived up to that lack of expectations. Like, what happened here didn't honestly surprise me that much. I called a lot of what happened, and yeah, okay, I'll just get into I'll just get into this. All right. First up was Kenny King defending his X Division Championship against Christian York and Zema Ion. This was kind of the coolest match of the night, but like a lot of other matches on this card, and you're gonna hear me say this a lot, it felt really spotty. There were moments in the match where they set up all these creative little choreographed spots just to have them. Like this was a match to have spots rather than spots to enforce a match. If you're into that sort of thing, this could be a cool match to watch because a lot of them were really creative. But of course, the usual problem with that is it's a bit sloppy. Everything seems a bit too stiff. Even though it was a good move exhibition for all the guys, it really didn't quite go into it until like later on when some of the movement actually did feel a lot more fluid. Kenny King wins by hitting him with the Royal Flush, I believe is what it's called, by hitting Christian York with that. I gave the match 7 or 8 out of 10. I liked a lot of the little things about it, especially the fact that everyone in the match got their own little moment, and they hit some really good big moves from the beginning. But I'd only really give it about a 7 or 8 out of 10. Like it's lacking that extra something that a lot of other great matches have. Afterwards, there was an interview with Joseph Park and Bad Influence. The Bad Influence are still as funny as they were last year, and I thought it was kind of funny that that just to be assholes, they let off Joseph Park saying, "Oh, where's Dixie Carter? Oh, she's over there. Okay." Next matchup was Joseph Park versus Joey Ryan. This was a different kind of match. I sort of like the idea of this match, or I sort of like I sort of like the idea of this match. As I said, it's always, in my opinion, the best way to start off is like start off with a fast match and then have something that'll keep the audience interested, but also ease them up. And this sort of had that. Like, it was a different kind of match that it was very entertaining in that kind of uncomfortable way that only Joey Ryan can pull off. It was super goofy, but it was still entertaining. Yeah, the main thing that a lot of people might not like about it was that it was really slow. But as I said, goofily entertaining. Joseph Park won the match by when Joey Ryan attempted to hit a sunset flip over Joseph Park, and Joseph Park just sat out and hit him with a seated senton straight out of Yokozuna's playbook. Give the match a 6 or 7 out of 10. Not much really all that good, but it was kind of the thing that was necessary during this part of the show. I'm sort of wondering where they're going to go with Joey Ryan at this point, since they really have been kind of spinning their wheels and not been doing much with him. The next part was a backstage segment with Bully Ray, Brooke Hogan, and Hulk Hogan. I wrote 2 notes for this down. Skip! And the reason by that is I just got up and got some water. I came back expecting to see the entrances for the next match and saw that this backstage segment was still going on! Yeah, and that leads me to my second note. Too fucking long! That's how I would describe this one segment. It just kept going. It just kept going. I know they were trying to like build up Hogan's investment into Bully Ray, but too little, too fucking late. It's like that one wrestling memes image said, Bully Ray is the #1 contender, decreed by me, Hulk Hogan, because fuck logic. Alright, the next matchup was Velvet Sky versus Gail Kim for the TNA Women's Knockout Championship. In a match of really spotty, in a card of really spotty shows, and of really spotty matches, and and a lot of superstars just exhibiting what's the craziest shit they can do. This is actually just a regular old type of match that actually I really liked it. I actually really liked the action between Gail Kim and Velvet Sky. I thought this was a pretty well worked match, and I sort of like the way it ended. The way it ended was Gail hit Eat Defeat after after being refused to be pulled over by Velvet Sky, and then she went to pin Velvet Sky, got 1, 2, 2 3/4. Gail couldn't believe it and just thought, oh, biased referee is biased. So she started getting in Taryn Terrell's face, outright, like, just started smacking her in the face and said, yeah, disqualify me. I'm going to get a rematch anyway. And so what Taryn Terrell decided to do was she fucking speared Gail Kim, and started just smashing her head into the ground, which led to Velvet Sky hitting her with that one pedigree looking move, and Taryn Terrell counting the 1, 2, 3. This seems to indicate that this is going to be the start of a feud between Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim. I thought it was a good match. I gave it a 7 out of 10. The only thing that could have improved it, if there was a wardrobe malfunction. Which I'm surprised there wasn't, considering the way that Taryn Terrell was dressed. Anyway, the next segment was a little interview with Robbie E. It was kind of funny, but it wasn't too great. And then set up the fight between Robbie E and Robbie T. This was, I think, the match that kind of just started to show my decline in what was going on here. From here on in, like, even though a lot of the matches were kind of an interesting spectacle, my overall investment in what was and how it was gonna end started to die down. And it started with this match. This match was kind of funny between Robbie E and Robbie T, but the fans really didn't get into it. You could hear them saying, "You can't wrestle at Robbie E." And even though it was kind of funny, it was really awkward because Robbie E and Robbie T really can't work that well with good wrestlers. So they can't really work well with each other. Oh my god. Yeah, this was just blah. I really do think the way they should have ended this, just if they're going to end this here, is just have Rob Terry straight up beat Robbie E in like 20 seconds. Straight out of the Ultimate Warrior's playbook. Yeah, but at least it didn't drag on as long as I thought it was going to. I gave it like a 4 or 5 out of 10. I've seen worse matches. Next match, or the next segment, was Austin Aries versus Bobby. Was an Austin Aries and a Bobby Roode promo. This was, I'm assuming this was to get rid of any rumors that Bobby Roode was going to leave TNA. For any number of reasons, but he showed up in the promo, meaning he showed up in the match. So the next match was Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, the tag team champions, versus Bad Influence of Christopher Daniels and Kazarian versus Chavo, Guerrero, and Hernandez in a 3-way tag team match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. This was an interesting dynamic between all the competitors. The problem was, like, everything was sort of based around Chavo and Hernandez as the group you want to root for, and I don't think that worked as well as it did. And I know I sort of said something different about the Shield, but because the Shield themselves were kind of fun to watch, this next problem didn't happen as much with them, and it was that it wasn't that fun to watch Roode and Aries keep Chavo down. Same thing with Bad Influence, although they were a lot funnier about it. And I think that has to do with just the fact that while Kaz and Daniels are really funny in their movement and everything, they're not completely engaging. But still, there was some really good spots later on. The match dynamic kind of changed later on. Bad Influence were still really funny. A lot of the little things they did. And Roode and Aries was also something that was really interesting to watch. The crowd got into it a lot later on, and that's where I ended up really liking the match later, because a lot of really fast stuff started going down. And that's why I still like this match, even with the flaws I already stated earlier. I gave it a 7 out of 10. After this, oh yeah, the way the match ended was, Chavo hit Christopher Daniels with the frog splash. Austin Aries or Bobby Roode came in, pushed Chavo Guerrero off of him, and Bobby Roode pinned him, pinned Christopher Daniels. So winners, and you're still your tag team champions, Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. After this was an interview with Taryn Terrell. Well, it was started as an interview with Taryn Terrell, and then it went into an ambush by Gail Kim after Taryn Terrell was like, "Hey, yo, I'm sick of this, dog." And then Gail Kim just started attacking, and then they tried to break it up. Sadly, and it's unfortunate that there were no more. Well, that they did not have another wardrobe malfunction. But anyway, it looks like this, as I said, the stage is set for a Taryn Terrell-Gail Kim feud, and this is a confirmation. The next thing was an interview with Ka Tangre, and he brought out his newest shirt, the I think it was Bring Wrestling or Keep Wrestling or I think it was Have Wrestling 2020. Referencing the Olympics dropping wrestling. Anyway, the next matchup was Ka Tangre versus Westriscoe in a steel cage match. I kind of thought it was an interesting start of the match that Kurt Angle started with, like, displaying some of his amateur moves. The biggest problem with this match was that there was just nothing that was incredibly remarkable about it. There was like one or two spots that were really interesting, but other than that, it was just like a kind of typical well-paced match. The biggest problem is just that there's nothing particularly remarkable about it, except for the fact that Briscoe won. That was the only thing about it, and it kind of felt unsatisfactory that he won basically just because of D-Lo. And that's why I'm marking this down a little bit. So I gave it either a 6 or a 7 out of 10. The next matchup was Team TNA versus Sting, Magnus, Samoa Joe, James Storm, and EY Eric Young versus a team of aces and eights. Devon, Mr. Anderson, Knux, Doc, and Garett Bischoff. This match... The dynamic of the unfair advantages of the lethal lockdown sort of thing, where one guy... Okay, the rules of lethal lockdown are that whoever got the advantage in like a match on Impact or whatever, they would decide that they could get in... have their guys start to come in first. So it would be advantage aces and eights, advantage TNA, advantage aces and eights, advantage TNA. I thought this was an interesting dynamic. But comparatively to a lot of other people, I wasn't actually a fan of the ending part where it felt really cluttered, where a lot of things were just going on at once. And my problem was I couldn't really keep track of it all because it was with 5 competitors on each side. It was all cluttered and it was all in just one big giant box of a cage. And again, it had a big problem in the fact that a lot of the things just felt really, really spotty. Like, there's one segment where one guy is getting superplexed, the guys who are superplexing him are being powerbombed, and that guy is being double Texas powerbombed by Samoa Joe. And my question is, like, why did Samoa Joe do that? He hurt 2 of his partners who were being powerbombed by those other guys. It seemed poorly planned. There was a decent back and forth matchup until Sting came in, and then it was just a very sudden momentum change when he started bringing in weapons. It was kind of cluttered, but it was also still sort of fun. I gave it 7. I know other people are gonna be giving it like, oh yeah, this was fucking awesome. But even when my boy Storm and my boy Joe aren't quite as entertaining me as they should be, that's sort of a bad sign. Next up is the main event of the evening. Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray in a steel cage match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, the thing about this match was, it seems like it was a lot more about the ending than it was the actual match. A lot of times that can be alright, except for the fact that this match felt fucking lazy. There was something incredible. There was something very slow, very unenergetic about both Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray, it really felt like they didn't care at all. There was only one spot where I thought it really felt like they were pulling a lot of interest, but it kind of felt like they were just like phoning it in most of the time during this match. It just felt really slow, and it just felt like it just didn't go. Yeah, it just wasn't entertaining me. My biggest problem was too fucking slow, and it all led up to the ending, where Aces and Eights have Bully Ray and Jeff Hardy surrounded. They're coming in on all sides. Bully Ray takes his chain that he had decided not to use on Jeff Hardy for some reason and hands it to him. He has another chain in his hand. They're back to back, staring at the Aces and Eights surrounding them. One of the guys who's coming down is Devon. Bully Ray screams something at Devon. Devon throws down a hammer at Bully Ray. Bully Ray slams Jeff Hardy 3 times with the hammer. Earl Hebner reluctantly pins. Earl Hebner reluctantly counts the pin as Bully Ray becomes the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Did I fucking call it or what? Yep, I had to say that. As I said, why would you trust a man named Bully Ray? Come on, man. This seems a little too unlogical. Yeah, but I know this was intended to be a big reveal. Maybe this was them attempting to recreate some fucking NWO moment. But the problem is that he seems to forget what the weight of the NWO was. The weight of the Hogan turn was. The weight of the Hogan turn was that Hogan was never anything but a good guy. So to see him change after all these years, to see like the super good guy image suddenly turn into the evil dude, that was what was so shocking about that. The thing about Bully Ray is he's only been like a good guy for like 8 or 9 months. You know, not exactly a lot of weight, especially for a guy named Bully Ray. Come on. You know, and what was some other things at the... Oh, yeah, of course, it was like... It's supposed to be the implication that all these years he's been just waiting for all these other guys. Which could be, like, implicated, but the problem is, like, he's only been a good guy for so long. You know, it was because of Aces and Eights that he became a good guy, which I guess is almost part of the idea of how he could have become world champion. Maybe it was all some elaborate scheme or something, but yeah, I don't know. I felt it was just a bland way to end the show. Maybe it was because I called it, but I don't know. They started throwing stuff into the ring, which I'm pretty sure, like, there were just some plants in the crowd to start doing that. And again, it was trying to recreate the NWO formation moment, and just didn't have any of its steam or talent, you know. I could believe this if, like, I think it would have worked better. I'm not sure if they could have worked better in any way. I don't know, maybe it's just me being a smart mark or something, but I don't know. I just thought this was a really bland way to end the show. But obviously that the match itself wasn't supposed to be particularly great. It was supposed to be all about the ending. And yeah, I'm not feeling it, brother. Sorry. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not. It's as simple as that. Gave the match like a 4 or 5 out of 10. A lazy match with just a few things that really did like save it from being atrocious, but at the same time it's like, why wouldn't I just watch like a 10-second clip of it online? Just look up like Avalanche Bully Bomb or Avalanche Power Bomb Bully Ray. You know, I'm sure you'll find it. So yeah, that was TNA Lockdown 2013. How was it? Well, if I was to describe it, it would be really spotty and kind of cluttered. There was a bit too much going on at times, and a lot of things really could have been removed. The pacing was a little bit all over the place in a lot of the matches that I would have... and a lot of matches that should have entertained me just didn't. I guess I would describe it that way. What would I give it overall? 5. That seems really brutal for a lot of the fact that a lot of the matches are just that a lot of the matches really aren't that bad, and a lot of the matches are quite interesting and good. But I don't know, this whole show kind of made me feel rather uninterested in it. And when everything is really spotty, a lot of times that loses a lot of rewatchability. You know, why would I ask you to watch the whole match when I could just tell you, look up clip shows of people using individual moves? You know, sorry, but that's just how it is. This has been Mr. Sanders, and I'll see you guys for, what's next? I think it's WrestleMania 29. See how that goes. See you guys then.